still trying to get my camera in place after knocking it over last week, and I have it up, and now I don't know where I need to stand. Ooh, glow! Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh Weekly. As always, I'm Robo, and it's kind of a weird week when you start looking too close. I went down my list of things to talk about and realized there's not one single solitary new thing this week. The majority of it is things we've already seen, but we have new pretty promotional pictures to look at because of pre-orders. And then there's a few things that are repaints, reuse. So it's kind of new, but not really new. Well, okay, there is one new character on my list, but it's mostly reuse of a previous character, and they're both troop builders, so I guess it gets off on a technicality. But still, we've seen a lot of the sculpt before. Now, I am not saying, I don't even want to talk about toys this week because of this and this and this and this. No, you know me. I'm still getting joy out of looking at the pictures and fine-tooth combing and seeing what I want to pre-order and don't want to pre-order. I'm just giving you fair warning. I'm setting your expectations before diving in. I glanced over at myself on the screen and it's gonna drive me nuts. Boss Fight Studio rolled out their Epic Hacks blank bodies a few weeks ago at PowerCon, but me being the idiot I am, I didn't get any good shots. I was too busy yakking with Fred and the rest and looking at things, and I got one, but I didn't even get a close look. But thankfully, they're showing some pretty promotional pictures this week. And they are exactly what the title says, blank male and female bodies. Their Epic Hacks line is 1/12 scale, so this should go nicely with your Marvel Legends or your G.I.Joe, or, well, I guess it depends on the exact size of these. During a recent live stream, they did say these are very early in the production stage, so they haven't picked out base colors. So if you're wondering about that, if it's going to be flesh tone or neon colors or blue or red or whatever, they haven't got to that point yet. But they do promise interchangeability like their regular hacks line. Ooh, could we get the masked heads that are featured in the background in the lion art? Because that would be pretty spiffy. Superhero them up. I hope these take off because, like I mentioned in the PowerCon coverage, I want to see different body types. Thicker, more muscular, broader, taller, shorter, skinnier, just wherever. They're blank bodies. I can use them all over the place. Hiya's Exquisite Super Series 6-inch Rambo 3 John Rambo went up for pre-order this week, and of course that means new pictures. Does it get any more action movie than Stallone in glam rock hair? That is downright beautiful. And I don't even mind the plastic sheen. Again, action hero. He's sweaty, and it works in its favor here. The clothes are still a bit bulky, and I say it like that because that's been one of my main complaints since Hiya has debuted their 6-inch scale. There's almost a learning curve. They're jumping right into the deep end of the pool without learning to swim first. Or at least that's how I perceive it. Not saying it's bad, because you can take that off and the t-shirt underneath looks pretty good. And then, of course, you can look at it as baggy pants, but altogether, it almost seems like it's smothering them, you know? It doesn't look like a big, jacked guy in clothes. It looks like somebody wearing a shirt that's too big for them. Who knew getting a large Dan Larson shirt would be Dan Larson sized? It's hard to deny how good the portraits and the accessories are, though. Look at all this gear he's loaded down for war. And yeah, the likenesses may slightly creep into caricature territory, but it's still unmistakably sly. There's a calm head, and then there's the lip curl snarl. If you just looked at the full body shots, you would think those are the only two heads included, but if you go to the here's what you get in the package picture, there's a third head. These pictures are kind of small, so when you zoom in, it gets pixelated, but it kind of looks like an expression between the two extremes.
I'm your worst nightmare.
I'm still waiting for the right figure to be my first Hiya purchase, and this may be it. This is my favorite look for Rambo, even though, you know, it's just black with a... But I don't know. I like the first two. This one is the most action figure-y, you know? NECA, though, has me by the cojones when it comes to their Dungeons and Dragons line. And it's driving me crazy because this was not part of my childhood. Initially I thought there was no nostalgia involved. And if you watch the weekly, you've heard this story several times. But I actually had Zarek in my toy box as a kid, but I didn't know his name. I didn't know it was Dungeons and Dragons. It was just a little orc figure to hang out with my Masters of the Universe. It wasn't until NECA announced Warduke and Grimsword that Vives and I did a deep dive, and wham! It hit me out of the blue. I had that. So I gave Wave 1 a try, and I was in. I gave Wave 2 a try with the nostalgia-fueled Zarek, and then Strongheart, and boom, nail in the coffin. I was done. I'm in. I'm a Dungeons & Dragons collector. So it's a no-brainer that I already have the newly solicited Elkhorn the Good Dwarf on pre-order. It was instant. Oh, click! And while I thought the first 4 figures were a pretty good deal for the price, what's going on here? Look at the loadout for Elkhorn. A lot of the body is Zarek reuse. Is that the reason that they can offer this amount of weapons for the same MSRP as the previous figures? Because if so, more reuse, please. I'm kind of joking about that because I can already see the comments of, well, for $37, it better come with that amount of accessories and a brick of gold and somebody to come to my house and play with it for me because, you know what I'm getting at, though. Elkhorn is awesome. All these weapons are awesome. Gimme, gimme. I want it now. I'm happy. You're not going to ruin it for me. Because since the reveal of the Hasbro PulseCon exclusive Star Wars Black Series The Force Unleashed Starkiller and Trooper Pack, I've had some time to think on it, and I do believe I'm passing. I just don't need it. It's cool, don't get me wrong, and I enjoyed the games, but man, priorities. But that's just me. I understand that a lot of fans have been wanting Starkiller in plastic form for a long, long time. And honestly, if this comes out single-released, non-exclusive, I'll probably pick it up. Because, okay, what's going on? I'm feeling the fence getting closer because 2 more troopers would be cool to have. I like the new style. And then there's the force effects and everything. But then, what's the price going to be on this? Well, dang. I didn't think I needed this. I guess it depends on what happens next week when it comes to price and availability and how quick is it going to go. And again, I still have my priorities, but the more I think about this, it would be cool. But, conflicted. I have no doubt that I'm going to pass on the Hasbro PulseCon exclusive Marvel Legends Detroit Steel, though, because I have absolutely no attachment to this character. I'm a big fan of a good-looking chainsaw attachment, and I love my big, beefy armor boys. But, still, no. It is obviously reuse of the MCU Ironmonger, and I don't have a problem with that because some of the reference pictures I've looked up kind of skew in that direction. I know it's not exact, but it's still a big old set of armor with Detroit Steel colors on it. And did I mention the chainsaw attachment? I'm sure if this character was higher up on my want list, the inaccuracies would, or may, probably not, but it could bug me if I thought about it too much. But as is, I look at it, oh, that's pretty sweet. I'll leave it for y'all. It's window shopping for Uncle Robo when it comes to Detroit Steel. It's the PulseCon exclusive G.I.Joe Classified Series Crimson Strike set that may force me to throw some money down. When Hasbro started kicking out all the trooper repaints, I started to lose interest slightly because there's some that appeal to me, some that don't. So that's a natural reaction, I feel. Not a bad thing. It's a little something for everyone. Python Patrol for you and you, and then the winter gear for you and me, because that may be my favorite. But I'll admit, I have been warming up to the crimson colors. Hell, when it comes to the Alley Viper, I prefer it in red over the orange. So Tomax and Zaymot in that color scheme may make it home to my shelf because Baroness just kind of sings to me. She looks fantastic in red. Plus the metallic chest armor just pops. It looks so good. Not only that, the new heads and eyewear make it even more tempting. I can pick one pair of glasses, put it on the red version, and then take the round glasses and put it back on the classic. It sounds like I already made a decision, but I don't know. The more I look, the more I like the red. I don't care for the gold weapons, if you're sitting here waiting for a complaint. No, I don't love everything. I just kind of like most things, you know? And in that case, I have more than enough weapons laying around that I can replace the gold. Not a big deal. But then, as I was about to walk in here and record, Hasbro surprised us with some new Python Patrol offerings. There's Copperhead, a Cobra Officer, and a Televiper with Trouble Bubble, all in the ketchup and mustard color scheme. But like I said a minute ago, Python Patrol for you and you. I gave the initial offerings a shot, and they're cool, but I don't need a whole platoon of that color. You know, a lot of yellow, some gray, and then markings all over it. It's almost too busy for my tastes. Now, I do want another Trouble Bubble after cracking open the regular version this week and becoming downright infatuated with it. And I do like the smoked bubble. But it's the rest of it. It's just not my thing. If it's your thing, though, it is a Pulse and Target shared exclusive. It already sold out on Pulse. It's still available on Target, at least as I'm recording this. Links are in the description. While we've seen the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Todd-designed Batman a few times, we haven't seen it in Entertainment Earth Sketch Edition flavors yet. Until now, and like a minute ago, it's exactly what the title says. It's the McFarlane designed Batman in sketch colors. I do have a soft spot for 2D designs being translated into 3D, which, now that I say it like that, that's most action figures based on comic book characters, right? It's taking flat artwork and making it tactile, bumpy, holdable, playable. Whew. I'm just saying the sketch editions take it a step further by just... It strips everything down to the basic black and white. There's a cleanness to it with some shade work, and when done correctly, it can almost trick your eye if you let it. Like, you glance at it and you think it's a piece of art, and then it rotates and... This is okay. It's got the concept, but with the shading under the pecs and then just down the side, I feel like it needs to be in other places too in order to darken down. It's Batman, you know? He should have more shadow, like around the abs and the wrinkles and in places, just to kind of sell the effect. There's also two versions of this release. Again, Entertainment Earth exclusive. There's the standard that comes with everything here, and then there's the autograph version that comes with everything here. You see the difference? Signed, unsigned, signed, unsigned. Although it doesn't matter, the autograph version is sold out. Boy, Todd puts his name on something and boom, it is gone. I feel like I missed some news somewhere for the Sentinel Fighting Armor X-Force Deadpool. This week, Big Bad Toy Store announced this as their exclusive in the US, and I thought, did I know about this? Then I checked AmiAmi and it was already sold out. But what gets me the most is that it has a release date of October. Next month. Now come on, there's no company these days that announces a product and then releases it within a 6-week span. It just doesn't happen very much. I mean, it is a simple and obvious repaint. Maybe they went, it's Deadpool, it's gonna sell, go ahead and start manufacturing them, and then we'll solicit it later. The standard red fighting armor Deadpool was one of the few armored characters I got during the whole, hey, let's take big name Marvel characters, put them in metal suits craze, and I will say that I enjoy that figure. I also love the X-Force suit, the colors used, but I don't feel like it works as well here. I guess the gray dulls down the metallic feel for me, while the red candies it up. It accentuates the metallicness. Then again, it's essentially the Megatron deco, and nobody in the world is saying, you know what, Megatron needs a redesign. Let's throw some different colors on them, take away the cannon, take away the grays and the blacks with hints of red. No one says that. Well, it's the internet. Somebody probably says that, but they'd be wrong. Maybe it is cooler than I originally thought. I hate it when I get in front of the camera and talk myself into things. But Sentinel, you once again left out the 80s glamour shot that you started the line with. So I did it for you. Look at it, it's beautiful. Did you stop doing it because I took that and added the retro laser effects to it and had some fun with it? Because I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. you can go ahead and still release these shots. I won't do it again. How about that? I promise. Uh-oh. Forever young. I wanna be forever young. Do you really wanna live forever? Somehow, the Kaiyodo Amazing Yamaguchi Marvel Agent Venom sneaks its way into the weekly for the third time in the past month. The initial reveal was followed a couple of weeks later by teaser shots showing a little bit more of the figure, and then this week, full pre-orders. That means pretty promotional pictures. So we've seen this picture with your standard import figure, arms raised, crotch jutted out. We've seen this picture, which gave us a good idea of accessories and extras. And we've seen this pic with the sense of motion and the full extension of the tentacles. But with the new images, we can see that Agent Venom can also get very tactical. Here it is in action with the blast effects in full effect. It also shows that Flash gets down and dirty. It can ease seamlessly into some web swinging shots, and yeah, the web does plug into the back of the fist. We saw the tentacles full of action, but here's a different shot to show that it can just get crazy. There's all kinds of chaos going on. But I think my favorite is this pose. At ease, surveying the scene, getting a sense of the situation. I've said it several times about this line. Action figures gotta action. And Amazing Yamaguchi has that down pat. But action figures also gotta relax sometimes, and Revoltech hasn't always been great at that. But on top of that, it's a semi-bulky character in a natural-looking crouch position. You don't see that all the time. I don't know enough about Agent Venom to tell you what the green eyes are for, but here's the options when it comes to the head. Then, of course, there's the exclusive Kaiyodo store head of classic Venom. And I don't think it... I read a comment last week of, well, Eddie was never in the Agent Venom suit, but I think Flash struggled to keep the Venom symbiote at bay, right? And every now and then it would come out and I think that's what this is for. That's not all from Kaiyodo though. Since the Agent Venom details are now set in stone, they announced the pre-order date for their Amazing Yamaguchi My Hero Academia Aizawa. We already saw the initial reveal for Eraserhead and then some glimpses at shows here and there. Now we're ramping up for that full-on solicitation. And I'm starting to see a theme here with the binding cloth giving the figure a lot more flair. Yeah, they're not as agile as the Venom tentacles that have extra joints in them, but it does spice up what could be considered a dude in a black jumpsuit with some gold Geordie LaForge glasses. But that's Aizawa, right? If you know the character, you know this is a badass figure. And again, there is a Kaiyodo store exclusive head that they are calling Blurred Face. At first I thought it was just a faceplate that would go on the rest, but I don't think the regular figure has this relaxed hair. At least, given the pictures that they've shown so far. I guess we'll know more next Wednesday when the pre-orders actually go live. To finish off the weekly, the toy line that is steadily rising up and up and up my most wanted list, and I don't even have a figure in my hand yet. A new week means another new pre-order from Fresh Monkey Fiction's Operation Monster Force. This week, it's the Apophis Legion Undead Counterterrorism Unit Trooper. I did say there was a new character this week that was a lot of reuse from another troop builder, and this is it. There's quite a bit of last week's Apophis Legion Rapid Reconnaissance Unit at work here, but the blue and the new head and weapons does a lot to change things up. But as amazing as they look, it's not just the figures reeling me in here, it's also the story. Each week we get a new snippet that is just enough to fire off the imagination. Again, the Apophis Legion were soldiers sent to stop the Forgotten King, who were then killed and resurrected in his service. So this is a counterterrorism unit trooper in name only. That was his job when he was living, and he retains those memories, but he uses that knowledge to now wage terror. It's kind of... It doesn't happen very often, but I'm realizing that that's the best way to grab my attention. A slow, steady drip of action figures and backstory. Just enough on a weekly basis for it to stick to my brain. And then by the time I get the action figures, it's gonna be like, oh, I got him, and now you fight him, and needs troops, and this goes here because the troops were built by this guy, and this was built by Dracula, and over here, and everything. It also helps that the people behind the scenes here are awesome. They're just fun to talk to. And that's all I have for this week. Again, a lot of stuff we've seen before, a lot of repaints, but that may be because of the upcoming show schedule. A lot of companies may be in a holding pattern as far as goodies go. Mezco announced RumbleCon for next Thursday and Friday, and I'm guessing, because I have excellent detective skills, that it's going to be very Rumble Society themed, because it's called RumbleCon. And then Hasbro's PulseCon is next Friday, and they've already announced reveals for Star Wars and Marvel Legends and G.I.Joe and Power Rangers and Dungeons and Dragons. So that's going to be an all-day affair. That also means they're going to screw up the weekly schedule, because that's usually my recording time. So depending on how much toy news there is in the next few days, I'll either record Wednesday and post Thursday and then do a Hasbro recap, or record the weekly Friday night or Saturday morning and then post it either Saturday morning or Sunday. I don't know what's happening. We'll just wing it, I guess. Because then the next week is Toy Fair. And we already know that a few companies aren't going, but there will still be stuff to look at. And come to find out, I will be there. Veeb said, whoa, we were able to get plane tickets. So again, the weekly is going to be screwballed that week too. But we'll do some live streams or whatever. We'll figure something out. We always do, right? We always find some way to talk about toys, whether it be in text form or picture form or video form or in person at Comic-Cons. I think I enjoyed that the most. Although talking on camera is pretty fun too, because of the editing, and I can do my jokes, my unfunny dad jokes. But you love it, right? Hopefully. I hope you at least enjoy it. There's got to be some reason you're here. Are you here just for the toys? Hurts my feelings.